This was my first time working with XLN, and it's been really cool. Everyone is so passionate about drums. We get along really well. We're nerdy about drums, microphones, everything. We tried a lot of things. You can do so much within the plugins. You can probably turn this to electric kit if you want, which I found is cool with the XLN stuff. It's not just about the pure original sound. It's up to the user to do whatever you want. There was a discussion, what do you want to get out of this kit? And they turned towards me like, what would you do with a heavy kit? So I did my approach, how I like drums to sound in a metal production today. In heavy music, the more stuff you add, distorted guitars, it's pretty dense sound image. To have things stand out, you need a lot more ring, sustain, and tone. That's why I think thin shells on this maple kit is really good, because it projects the drums towards the room instead of birch and stuff, more into the face of the drummer. Metal drummers, they're so used to fill the drums with crap, so they don't sing at all or get any sustain, or it's just dead sounding. But with these kicks, you don't need to do that, because they are so tight by themselves. It's kind of strange and rare when you hear it. That's what makes them work with metal without putting a lot of stuff in them. The depth of the kicks was a recommendation from Dirk Verburen, who plays now in Megadeth. He told us if you want to play fast stuff, you need a little bit more depth, so you get better response, it's easier to play. That's why we went with those a little bit deeper instead of like the normal 14. I really prefer to have two kicks. To me, it's always better. You get double the time for each drum to sing before you hit it again. So you get more sustain with each hit. It sounds more open and more alive. It starts the room more. It's like twice the volume because it's two drums singing at the same time. I'm not chasing to sound exactly the same like a lot of people do. Like, I want a bit difference between left and right. Like, one is a little deeper sounding, which I have as my main kick. And on my left side, I have a thinner sounding. It's always gonna sound different, which when you get to fast kicks, makes it sound less machine gun. When you bring it all in with the room mics, it's just those unbalanced stuff makes it wider, which I like. If you don't like it, you can always bring it in. So you have the options. You usually hear when it's a bell brass and not just a snare. You can get so much out of this drum. It's loud, but it's like ghost notes and everything cuts so well. So if you have a lot of ghost notes and you have a problem making them cut through in the mix, this drum is number one, always. Having the same snare in different tunings, you have the same character, but then you have the options to different tunings for different songs. You can crank it and it's really cool. It still has so much lows in it because it's so dynamic. It works really well for the low stuff as well, so you can use whatever tuning you like that fits your song and your taste. This one I would pick in like a dense mix, or if you want a lot of tone to the snare and character, I would say. Everything I listened to in the early 90s, even mid to late 90s, was a lot of piccolo. It's fun to mix it up, to bring that 90s metal vibe back. So it's also a snare that really cuts because it's so high pitched and has a lot of character. You're gonna hear when it's a piccolo. It's a very unique sound. It's like so in your face. Once you zone in on the piccolo and you change to other, it's like everything else sounds more boring, less character. Usually the high pitch are more accurate in a blast beat. If it's a really deep snare, it's just muddy. You pick the snare for the song and the drum grooves. It's probably the most used and recorded in this room because it's always working well in a mix. It's so even sounding. It has a little bit more like a vintage vibe to it as well. Not as loud in the room as the piccolo or the bell brass. It's so forgiving and easy to mix. If you don't want your snare to stand out right away in the mix, just sound like a good snare, it's my go-to. Snare, when I bought it, I was buying it because I wanted those really low tones. On the Carcass album I did, it's the main snare. Still have that body and depth to it because it's a bigger drum. So if you're after more wood sounding snares, the other ones are all bronze or metal snares. It has a warmer tone to it that you get from wood. When we talk Paiste, it's usually 2002 cymbals that everyone shows up with. It's like the standard for fast, loud. But to me, usually in this room, it's a bit too loud together with a band. I try more darker and not as loud cymbals. And that's kind of what you get from these, I would say. It gets a little bit lower in pitch. So it has better range where it sits in the mix. When it's like crash grooves, usually it gets too annoying and builds too much and gets too loud. That's why I like the lower pitch and like a little bit darker cymbals. This kit sounds so good. For everything heavy, this will fit really well because you have the snares that cut through a dense mix. You have the double kicks if you need them, and you have a lot of sustain in the toms, so you can see this as your Swiss Army kit for every heavier production. You can do so much with it.